Okay, alright. Um, Alright, hello! My name is Macklen. I'm going to teach some movements for the shoulders today because I get a lot of messages from people that have pain in their shoulders and neck, along with other stuff, but those are two big parts of the body that I hear a lot about. And I experienced a lot of tension in my upper neck and my upper shoulders for quite a long time. For about 2 years, I just observed it and didn't really attend to it other than taking yoga classes, which I thought was helping. My only movement practice, though, for years was yoga and cycling and waiting tables. So I would hold trays of food and drinks for long periods of time. But yoga and cycling and waiting tables wasn't cutting it anymore, and the consistent pain was still there. So I decided to go to a physical therapist and have them check it out. They taught me a few movements. I'm not going to teach you those movements here. I'm going to teach you some other stuff. But I encourage you, if you have pain that's going on and it's consistent and the thing you're doing isn't helping, that you go investigate with a professional, a manual therapist, chiropractor, physical therapist, massage therapist that you trust, whatever. Okay, have it checked out. And yeah, here we go. So first, a couple bony landmarks. Can you find your clavicle bone, your collarbone? Touch that or attempt to, and lift your arm up, noticing if the collarbone moves when you lift your arm up, your shoulder up, and then find your other one. You probably have two. Okay, and then second is your humerus, your arm bone. It's underneath your deltoids. It's underneath your biceps and your triceps. Your humerus is in there. That's what helps us do all the cool things with our arms that we can do. You've probably got two of those as well. Okay, and then find your scapula. That's the triangular bone that is on your back, the upper back. They're higher usually and wider, meaning further out than we typically think they are. And it goes from the edge of the arm inwards towards the spine and then down at an angle coming out. Whew, you can kind of not really see mine here with my crocodile alligator shirt. But here we go. Collarbone, humerus, clavicle, humerus, scapula. You probably have two of those too. Today you're going to need a belt, some sort of belt or a rope or, I don't know, a shirt or something. Let's start there. So take whatever you've got that's long and you can wrap underneath your arms. By the way, if you don't have this, just do a Mary Catherine Gallagher and place your hands underneath your armpits. Because what we're going to do is breathe into this space underneath the arms to sense movement of the ribs and how the movement of your ribs might be associated with movement of the shoulders, movement of the arms, especially as you breathe wide into the strap, into the belt, into your palms. And if you hear any sounds, that's my heater coming on. So one more breath here. Breathing into all the places that you can, and then exhale. Then slowly release. Set that aside. I like to call this one shoulder shruggies. One at a time, you're gonna place both of your palms to your sides. One at a time, shrug a shoulder up and back as your palm stays grounded to the side of your leg. One simple shoulder circle as you notice how that feels in your neck, Maybe you play with placement of your head. And the other one goes for a gander, attempting to keep the opposite shoulder pretty still, just moving one at a time. Noticing if this side has any differences going on. And that's interesting, right, to notice one side compared to the other. Now do both. And I think it's interesting because we're not totally symmetrical. And I love moving partially because it gives me information about my body so that I can do other things that come to mind throughout the day, or I can move a bit smarter if one part's feeling a little cranky. Okay. Oh, this is cool. Oh. Yeah, take a breath in, breathe out. Shoulder shruggies, to move your shoulders around, your trapezius, your upper back, your clavicle. Aha. I'm looking over here on my notes. All right, take your fingertips, plant them on a wall or something that's not moving, a door frame, whatever you've got. Stand a few feet away. Begin to trace your fingertips around. As you do this, pay attention to any sensation that you notice in the palm, the wrist, the forearm, upper arm, shoulder, upper back, basically anywhere on this side of your body, maybe even the side ribs where we were breathing earlier. Going into various parts of the space. Ooh, you might find a place that you want to breathe for a minute or 2 breaths. Okay, now begin to create some movement with your torso and your legs. So fingertips stay still now. Fingertips or palms stay still. Turn your body towards the arm, away from the arm. Go into as many different positions that you can as your fingertips stay grounded. Your elbow can also move. How might that change how you feel in your shoulder? Yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of a prance. And then, of course, do the other side. I'm going to come over here. So fingertips, body stays still, moving the fingertips around, just like you're tickling here. And you can see on the back walls I have some marker drawings that I created and hung up. And then when you're ready, we'll first pay attention to what you're feeling on this side, yeah? The importance of the difference. You might notice something that's different, and you might not. It's okay if you don't notice anything at all. The intention is there. Palm or fingertips plant. Now move the rest of your body around. Your movements are going to look probably different than mine. We all have different bodies. We have different inclinations to movement. So you just go with what feels interesting, or maybe go with something that feels a little weird. But don't go into the pain place, right? Like go to a place that you can manage, and you breathe. You breathe. All right. I don't have a name for that one. Do it. How are we doing on time? Whoa! Okay, this one's called teacups. It felt like 2 minutes. It's 9. Whatever. Okay. 2 packets of tea. Put them in your palms. You're going to begin to move the teacups around. So before, our fingertips were on the wall, but now our fingertips are free to move. Our spine is my spine, your spine is pretty stable, and you're going to attempt to keep the tea packets or whatever you've got on your palms upright. Gosh, talk about serving. Robot, robot, robot. What's happening here is your arms are moving, your shoulder blades are moving, that whole shoulder girdle is shifting around your rib cage. Now get a little movement with your spine. Okay, it's a little bit rave-like. I myself have never been to a rave. I hear the colors are cool. Oof. You can do that for as long as you'd like. Ooh, especially this one. Go for some arms behind you. Hold that for a second. Find a breath in. Spine super tall, feet grounded. Isometric contraction through the backs of the shoulders. Your lats, your triceps, back of the arm. Whew. Maybe try and touch the fingertips towards one another, still keeping the palms towards the ceiling. And then you can release, rest whatever is down, relax your arms down by the sides, close your eyes if it's comfortable, and take a full breath. Exhale. Take another breath in and see if you can breathe into the place underneath the armpits, that wide rib cage breath, 360 degrees around. Exhale. Okay. I think I have one more move for you. This one's a short one. It's called the Kana Hug. And you're going to keep, oh yeah, you need a blanket for this one. You'll squeeze it in between your legs. Okay? Arms around. Trying to keep your legs still. And you're rotating at the thoracic spine. That's your upper back spine. And then you can take your arms somewhere else and move them if your arms are comfortable being overhead. Go for that. See how that might be different. My hips are trying to still continue to stay stable. Legs squeezing into the blanket or a block or a pillow or whatever you've got. All right. And now a little side bend. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. My intention with this practice is for you to get a bunch of different movements going on into your shoulders, because the more that we move in the spine and the ribs, and the more that we move, the more parts of the body that we can use and that we have access to. When our bodies take one particular position, especially sustained throughout a day, the muscles learn to be in that position and they forget how to access the other parts of the body. So, move it or lose it, they say. Last one, this is my favorite. I'm going to use a packet of Epsom salts because it has a little bit of weight. If bearing weight overhead is not an appropriate idea for you, then you can do this without anything in the palm. Spread your legs wider than your shoulders. First off, let's keep the pelvis pretty stable for a moment, and if it helps, you could plant it to the wall. Sometimes having some feedback from behind of the pelvis helps. Reach one arm up overhead, feet wider than the shoulders, pelvis and legs strong, maybe lifting the kneecaps up. One arm overhead, big breath in, and you're going to lean your torso over to the side. Your arm comes with you, but it continues to point up towards the ceiling. Kind of like a triangle pose if you're familiar with yoga. And as you exhale, draw the ribs in and lift the spine straight up. And we'll go back to the other side, leaning over and lifting up. I have my hand here on my side body to remind myself to keep my low ribs coming towards my spine and my hip, because I have a tendency sometimes to allow my low ribs to flare out. Okay, and then, other variation is instead of letting your hips be stable, you can let them move. So giving your body choices, seeing if one feels more interesting to you, does one feel more challenging? And of course you could use a different weight in the hand. That's helping to build some overhead arm strength. Another side, hips stable, If it helps, plant the hips back by the wall. Side bend as you create a little bit of a contraction on this one side in the low back, quadratus lumborum, and you create a stretch on this side. Low ribs come in, breathe out as you lift the spine back up. If this breath does not work for you, you find something else. You find something that feels accessible in your body. Noticing what you've got going on. Whether it's a physical sensation, whether it's a thought that you have about your body. How do you think about your body? And then allow the hips to shift. And then lift up, hips come back under. Hip shift over, side bending. Ooh, one more. Okay. Windmill. That's my new favorite. That I didn't have anything planned to say there. That's what I have for you today. So to finish off, I recommend either standing for a few breaths to ease out, or you can lay down on the floor and find some simple breaths for yourself to kind of down-regulate the nervous system. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Happy to chat. And yeah, that's it. All right, peace. May your shoulders live and be happy.